Hello, everyone, and welcome to another thought for the day. The day being Tuesday, the 26th of January already. Now, if I do this the way I normally do, this will be posted sometime this evening, and it will go out just after our prayer meeting. We have our regular weekly prayer meeting as a church on a Tuesday at 7 o'clock. And I have to say, of late, the prayer meeting's been going very well. We've a good attendance. There's a tremendous spirit of prayer about, and there's certainly plenty of things, matters, and people to pray for. So we don't really put a time limit on it, but usually for an hour or so, as the Spirit leads, we meet for prayer. And of course, for Christians, this is vital. This is invaluable, and of course, prayer works. So it's a powerful time, and it's a wonderful time, and it's a necessary time. It's good to pray as individuals. We're given instructions by the Lord to do that, but it's also good to come together and to pray collectively. And we do that at all times, but throughout history, it's always been the case that in times of emergency or of crisis or of a national disaster, Christians certainly seem to gravitate together and want to come together to pray. So I believe that's the situation we should be in at the moment. We are in a grave national crisis, a worldwide crisis with this old virus. You don't need me to remind you of that. But this is a time when Christians should be coming together to pray. And of course, normally we'd be doing that in our churches. Our churches would be open and we'd be able to come in, and hopefully the prayer meetings would fill up with people coming to the Lord in prayer. Now, again, friends, I'm convinced there are forces about which prevent us from doing that. Evil powers, dark powers, and we can't get into our churches to come together to pray. So the next best thing, of course, is to pray online. And that's what we do. As I said, we have been doing for quite some time now. And I must say it's going well. So with prayer in mind, Patricia and I this morning were talking about a story from Exodus chapter 17. I just thought I would bring that to you today as a thought for the day. And it concerns prayer. It's about the Israelites fighting the Amalekites. Israel was led by Joshua, that great hero, and they were fighting the Amalekites. Amalekites were a bit of a thorn in the flesh for the children of Israel, in that they had trouble with them for a long time. There was always tension, there was always fighting, there was always war erupting and bothering the children of Israel. And in this particular case, Joshua is leading the Israelites against the Amalekites. Now, I should have checked this out before saying anything, but as far as I know, you can check this out for me. I'm sure if I'm saying something out of order here, word will get back to me. But as far as I know, it was the Amalekites who were the first people to attack the children of Israel when they had come out of Egypt. Okay, now Moses is here, so they hadn't quite yet entered into the promised land, but they were out of Egypt, and they were trying to sort themselves out and eventually get into the promised land. But they hadn't arrived there just yet, and the Amalekites attacked them. Now, there's a battle going on in the valley down below, and on top of the hill overlooking that, we have Moses praying. I'm sure a lot of you know the story well. You can read it for yourself. It's in Exodus chapter 17, and it's verse 8 and following. Verse 8 through just to about verse 13. So, very long story. So you can imagine the battle going on below, and Moses is on the top of the hill overlooking the battle praying. Now, the custom was in those days to raise your hands in prayer. Okay, to stand and to raise your hands. It's quite odd that I'm just thinking about, because we do the exact opposite. Even when in church together in public, we don't, in this country anyway, we don't stand to pray, and we don't usually raise our hands. We normally sit and have that sort of hunched over posture, and it's not very practical when you're having a public prayer meeting, because a lot of us seem to be talking into our laps. We don't have that problem now online, by the way, because we're all speaking loud and clearly into our phones, and well, I can't see. I don't know whether you've got your hands up or not. I don't think it makes much difference. But anyway, the way it was in Moses' day, Moses was standing and he was praying, and his hands were raised. The Bible tells us that when Moses took his hands down, presumably when he stopped praying, but when he took his hands down, things didn't go well in the battle down below. So when he raised his hands again, the battle went well for the Israelites. Now, it must have been a fairly long battle, because Moses must have got tired. So he got so tired, he didn't want to let his arms down. So what happened was, the two friends that were with him, Aaron was there with him, his brother, and also a chap called Hur, H-U-R. Anyway, they set him down on a seat, on a stone, and they held his hands up. And they held his hands up until sunset. At the end of the day, the children of Israel prevailed. They got the victory. So, of course, it's a wonderful story, and there's a whole pile of lessons there for us as well, friends. Persevering in prayer. Don't give up when you get tired. If you have to pray all day until the end of the day, then do it. If you have to get people to help you to pray, then do that as well. So, Moses didn't pray alone. He was there with Aaron and Hur. And, well, there's a lesson for us as well. Persevere in prayer, certainly individually if you want, but how much more, how better is it, how much more effective if we all come together in prayer. As I said, the prayer meetings should be full. We all have things to pray for. There's a worldwide pandemic, but even apart from that, our own obstacles, our own trials, our own problems, our own friends get into trouble. There's health problems. There's all sorts of things that we need to be praying for. And the more people that pray, the better. That's just what we have to do and keep doing until we see our prayers being answered. So, a reminder from God's Word that prayer does work. A reminder that there's plenty to pray for, and we could even class ourselves as being in a battle against this virus, as it were. So there's plenty to pray for, friends. So can I just encourage you to pray? Pray when it suits you, in the peace and quiet of your own home. But please, would you also consider joining with us in prayer? As I said, every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, you'd be very welcome just to dial in and to join with us. You don't have to stay for the whole meeting. As I often say, come when you can, leave if you have to. But please, don't only bring yourself, but bring those things that you would like others to pray for. A lot of people say, would you pray for this and would you pray for that? And we do, of course, and we want those requests and we don't turn them away. But how much better if you came, brought those requests with you, and we all prayed together. Have a wee think about that, and maybe we will hear you next week, next Tuesday evening at 7 o'clock. So thank you for listening. Until another little chat, can I please ask you to keep safe, and as I just said, keep praying as well. So that's all for the moment. I'll see you again soon. So bye for now.